Hello again, and wow, welcome back to Leggs. It has been, well, it's been too long, really, but we're here now, and that's what's important. And I'm so glad you're here. You. Anyway, all right, this is Leggs, where we embark on the journey through the nuanced terrain of human motion and emotion, exploring how the act of physical activity, mainly running, intertwines with our need for connection and belonging. Hello, I am your host. I'm Will, and I'm honored, as always, to guide you through this exploration of the significance of movement in our day-to-day lives and how it all adds up, tiny little puzzle pieces, to feeling just a little less lonely. We've been seemingly painted into this corner of solitude and disconnection from device dependency and these run influencers that are making us feel bad about ourselves. But just surface level conversations lasting 2 to 5 seconds that fill us up with nothing but despair, extra loneliness, and an overwhelming sense of FOMO doom. FOMO doom, coming soon to theaters near you. Anyway, on Leggs, we venture into the realm where these solitary paths sort of converge through shared experiences. The conversations we have with individuals then uncover the ways in which physical activity, like I said, mainly running, but other stuff too, serves to bridge that ever-widening chasm of loneliness that we are faced with daily. Here we talk to the track stars, the trail monsters, the shops, the clubs, and anyone that wants to share their story in which the profound ways of motion shapes the perception, I'm gonna have to re-record this, perception of self and community. Today, we've got Dev. At least that's what we're calling him. I mean, that is his name. But Dev is an incredible runner and overall just incredible human from Boston, Massachusetts. And to be completely honest, he doesn't care what you call him so long as you're calling him. Today, we're diving into all things community, running, how to stay in the sport after the bubble bursts, tarot cards, time travel, third spaces for adults that revolve around competitive approaches to running, why you should join them to get your ass kicked at a track workout, and really kind of boiling it all down to how to always bet on yourself. And when you're setting goals, just go for it. So without further ado, because you're sick of hearing from me, this is Dev for Leggs and a Conversational Pace.
It happens and it happens.
It happens when it happens, exactly. Okay, sweet. Welcome back to Leggs. This is a Conversational Pace. Today we've got a very, very special guest all the way from Boston, I believe. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, cool. I knew it was the East Coast. Dev is with us today, and instead of me trying to introduce him, I would like him to introduce himself. So, Dev, I'm going to give you the mic, and why don't you run us through who you are, a short little bio, and then we'll kick this off.
Yeah. So my name Devin, as I like to say, whatever you want to call me, as long as you're calling me. My friends call me Dev. Just about everyone calls me Dev, which I'm perfectly cool with. My mom as well. Unless she's yelling, she'll be like, Devin. But yeah, so I'm from Boston. I'm currently living in Cambridge. So if I run down the street, I'll be in Boston in 10 minutes. So they border each other in that way, split up by the prolific Charles River. And I'm an IT guy by trade. I also I also dabble in running, I suppose. I dabble a little bit in running, photography, and visiting as many coffee shops as I can during my travels.
Yeah,
That's
you're
that's about all I'm getting into. So
you're
yeah.
prolific with the coffee shops. I've been keeping up with your bagel adventures and all that on your recent stories. So I'm envious. I feel like I don't necessarily know where the best bagels and coffee is in Portland. I know we're known for that, but I don't know, it's good to have sort of a remote guide as well, or at least like some inspiration to get out there and like find my own version of it. So appreciate you doing that work for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
usually that's usually how if I'm visiting a new city, that's
mhm.
actually generally how I'll explore it is like walk and run around and then find coffee shops around that are in I think more of just aesthetically pleasing ones. So that's generally where I'll find cool areas and just figure things out.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really good measure of a city. So we will talk about running. So that's going to be part of this conversation. We're going to gear it a lot towards community too. I know we kind of touched base on that a little bit on DMs. But before we get into that, do you live your life a quarter mile at a time? Do you have a personal mantra or some sort of mission that you live by that you try to go by?
I think right now, in general, actually, I guess this has been this for a while now. If I had a mantra, I think it would just be always bet on yourself. I think that's important. I think especially when you are setting goals, just go for it. And if something gets screwed up, like whatever, you learn from it and just keep going forward. But yeah, never just don't doubt yourself. Like shit'll happen.
Yeah, I dig that. So kind of on further with that, and not doubting yourself and kind of keeping yourself maybe, I don't know, amped up or whatever. I was actually just listening to a song right before you hopped on, and there's a line in it that says, to start saving others, we have to start change or to start saving others, we have to start changing ourselves. So at Legs, we kind of like explore this idea that to be a more productive, quote unquote, member of quote unquote society, whatever that looks like now, and to help others and to kind of like create these visions or this world that we want to see, we have to first sort of be happy with ourselves. So, um, you know, never doubting yourself. What is something else that you kind of do, or how do you live that out? What is something that you do to keep your mind, body, and soul happy?
So anyone that knows me at this point, definitely running is going to be the number one thing, but I think it's also just important to have things outside of that too. Obviously, the physical thing is important. So running, I go to the gym a little bit. I don't really as much as I can. It's more for aesthetic purposes, to be honest. Also, just I am very much into, unfortunately, maybe not unfortunately, but if I'm not running, I'm reading about running. That's how I just learn about like all physiology, and I like learning in general. I feel as if I am a lifelong learner, so I'm always just diving in the books of whatever thing I'm into at the time. Writing, journaling has been a new thing for me lately, and it's been a good way to reflect. I also don't have the greatest memory in the world, so it is a nice way to give myself some time to gather my thoughts, and then I can put them into something a little more tangible that I can look back on and be like, oh, like this is how the day went, or this is how I'm progressing in X manner.
Mhm.
And then something that I guess it's been a while now, probably since like 2019. I've really gotten into like tarot reading,
Oh,
and I
cool.
don't I don't do it super often, but I try and at least once or twice a month. With the moon cycles as well, I'll do a reading. I'll check in with myself and I'll see how things are going. And for me, and this is usually how I'll describe to people that I do readings for, I don't take them so literally. It's more of just, you say your intentions, you get what you want out of the deck, you flip your cards and you go, oh, this is the meaning of the card. How can I connect it to something as opposed to taking the meaning of the card literally? And I think it's oftentimes eerily accurate. And so it's just something I've been following. It's fun. So,
Yeah.
but I also think as well, just keeping yourself happy. I think people also just need to realize like you don't have to have it all figured out or fixed before you're allowed to be happy. Like you'll get there. I'd say just trust in yourself, bet on yourself, trust in the universe. Make sure to be available when those blessings or when the opportunities arrive. And I think a really good kind of point on that is this phrase. It's what is it? Luck is preparation meets opportunity. So like again, like things will happen for you
Mhm.
and you don't have to have it figured all out before you're completely happy with yourself. And I don't know if we'll ever be completely happy with ourselves, but also don't worry if you're not right now or if you have things that you're striving for, just, you can enjoy the journey.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really apt point. I want to know too about like the barriers that people are up against, especially as it pertains to maybe taking some time for themselves, because this world that we have right now is just like the modern world is pornography, right? Like there's just so much influx of information and stimulus all over. But I think you bring up a really interesting point about, accepting sort of like small wins in your life and building on those to get to a happy spot. I think happy is a kind of a misnomer here because it does sound like a destination when actuality it's a journey and you keep building on it. But what's some advice you'd have for someone that maybe has a hard time recognizing those small wins or accepting those blessings?
It's tough. Hmm. I think at least starting with like the barriers, I think like work is obviously can be that for a lot of people. Work is a barrier, especially when you add up time it gets ready to go to work, the time for your commute, the actual time spent focusing on work. And especially if you commute, that's 10 or 12 hours out of your day of your life. And so it can be tough to find that, I think, if you are in that position. Like for me, I'm lucky. I'm so blessed that I'm able to work remote because it does give me a lot of my day back. But at the same time, like still have those barriers of work. Like you mentioned, just we have this influx of information. There are 100 million things. There's, work, phone, Instagram notifications trying to vie for our attention. And I run into that a lot. Is like if I would just get off my damn phone, I'd probably get a little bit more done. And so I think it's more the thing of just like realizing the barriers that you have and then seeing what structure you can make out of that. And
Mhm.
then once you have, I think it's like building a clear path to your goal. I think it's good to have big goals. It's good to have something far out,
Fair.
but you need to have things on the way towards that because what happens is, oh, here's where I'm at and here's my goal. And if I don't hit my goal, I'm consistently and constantly disappointed in myself. But if I'm like halfway there, if you start making these little steps, you're like, oh, like I'm making progress. I am making progress. I don't have to just go from A to Z. Like I can go through the entire alphabet.
Yeah.
And it'll also just help you when you have those setbacks. It's like, oh, I went from A to H, but now I'm like back to E, but like I was at A 5 months ago. So just
Sure.
keep in mind, just keep those things in mind as you are moving forward with, whatever journey you're on, whether, it's running, writing, work, even like I do enjoy my job for the most part, which I know a lot of my contemporaries cannot say. So there are parts of that. And so there are these things in my life that I can enjoy and I have goals in my career as well. And I'm making progress towards that and making progress steps in running. But it is like, okay, cool. I'm almost at Z. Like, am I ready to accept this? And that's a personal thing. You have to recognize like if you're ready. And sometimes you're like not ready for shit. Like things just happen. And at that point you have to make the choice of, okay, this thing has come in my life. Like, do I jump on it? And what are weigh out the pros and cons of things. But I would say if it is something that you're really interested, you're really looking for, like, dude, just take the risk and just do it. Just like keep yourself open.
Yeah.
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 So,
No, I think that's perfect. I used to have this kind of, I mean, this is a little bit of a personal anecdote, but I used to live my life sort of like in this sort of, I would call it my like sad state because anytime I felt like happiness creep in or anything like that, there was always this like impending fear that the other shoe was going to drop and therefore just like take me back down to that kind of like basis of sad, right? Like if you're up, you can come down. If you stay down, there's no fluctuation. So like it's interesting because I think once you do start accepting those into your life, you kind of like you were saying, you build on these little wins and you start to create these kind of almost patterns or new habits in your life where you can start to be grateful for the littler things. Like you're saying, I work remote. Like that's a big like it's a privilege, to do that because you do get this time back in your day. You don't have to deal like what we were talking about before, like the road rage of going onto the highway. Like that is something that like is real for a lot of people and does take away from moments of clarity, I think. So I like how you put that. So shifting gears slightly into sort of what you're doing to keep yourself happy, build this journey. Why do you run?
The why.
The why.
The why is important. The why is important. I think the why is important for anything that has a goal or milestone. I think for me, the why the why change it shifts and adjusts as I'm on my running journey. I've only been running for 2.5 years at this point. So the why has changed and shifted. First, it was just getting out the door every day. Originally, I started running just to supplement Muay Thai, which I definitely am not doing as much as I used to once running really like got in the picture. I still train once or twice a month, but I used to train like 4 or 5 times a week. So when I started running back in January 2023, it was just to supplement that. So I'm like, okay, let me just get out the door every day, 5, 10 minutes, jog down the street, jog back, and that's it. And then like I had a little streak going. And once I started taking running a little seriously, I'm like, oh, I actually need to like give myself a break. So I don't need to do a streak thing now. The
Hmm.
why is adjusting. And I think ultimately, at least like currently at this point, like it's just fun. It's like it's fun to get out there and like, you know, life and other things can be so serious. So if you're not having fun while doing something, uh, maybe you're doing it wrong or maybe it's not for you. But I think again, you need to find that joy. You need to find that fun in it. Mary Oliver, my absolute favorite poet, she said, joy is not made to be a crumb. So, take it all in, take it all in as you're getting it because, just shit happens. So,
Yeah. I
yep.
feel like we're this was meant to happen. The Mary Oliver quote, like I've been waiting for that to come out in one of these, and finally. So May 1st, mark it.
Yeah.
I like it. So you bring up such a great point there with finding joy, and making sure that you're doing the why for the right reasons. And I feel like especially now, I don't know, running is at this weird like Renaissance age, or maybe we're post Renaissance. I don't know what we're calling it at this point, but um, there's like the super serious side of it. There's kind of like the newcomers to I want to get into sport in a second, but when you're not finding joy in it, maybe it's a shit run or it's tougher that day. What do you do to kind of keep it exciting or remind yourself that this is supposed to be fun?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, at least for me, definitely just like bad run, something like that, I think is ultimately, you can look back and you can reflect on it, but, I think for me, it's like, let me think, what was it last weekend? Yeah, last weekend. I didn't have like a terrible workout, but I definitely gassed myself out a little earlier than maybe I should have thought of. And I was like, oh, like this could have been because of XYZ. I can reflect and I can analyze all I want, but it's just one in the whole scheme of things, like it's one run. It's not gonna like fuck my fitness up or anything like that. And, you know, I grow and I move on from there. And yeah, so yeah, definitely running like one bad run's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that does like keep me going even when I am feeling down is like, oh, like I can see myself getting better. And I had a bad run because maybe I was like pushing myself and like I'm better than I was a year ago. So it's like, oh, sometimes, you push, 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 you come back again. It's kind of like that thing. It's like, A to Z. I'm at H. I mean, I went back to like G for a second, but
Hmm.
things are gonna continue rolling on. And so I think my like what keeps me going after a particularly bad day is just that like there will be more. Like there'll be more runs, there'll be more races, there'll be more workouts. Um, it's not a bad life, it's just a bad day. And that's all. That's it. And you just have to kind of dig yourself out of it. Or also just allow yourself to be upset. Don't I would say like don't dwell on it forever, but yeah, allow yourself that emotion. Allow yourself to be upset or to be frustrated. Because it's just natural.
Yeah.
If you if you're trying to be like hyper positive or everything like that, like just not how we operate.
Yeah.
And ultimately you're gonna blow yourself up if you just keep it in. So yeah, just the fact that I know there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. As shitty as things seem sometimes,
Mhm.
but I have to accept that those moments happen, and I'll sit with it. I can reflect, and then tomorrow, all right, let's see what we got.
Yeah.
And
You get to drop it. I think, yeah, the tunnel, you get to yell into the tunnel and hear the echo, and you're like, all right, cool, that's out there now. I rang the bell, and that's what I can do about it at this point. Then I just move on from it. I think it's a really great, it's a bad day, not a bad life. I love that. Um, so with all the sort of influx of, I said this a while ago, but there's like the Renaissance runner. I feel like that came from COVID era, and with the influx of the new brands that have kind of created these new, I'm hesitant to use the word communities, but I do think that there's something to be said for what the brands with the new runners, and like it's concentric circles and it's chicken and egg catch 22, whatever it is. Um, but do you consider personally running a sport?
I would.
Yeah.
I think it's just also maybe how I approach it.
Okay.
People can, see it as fitness or whatever, like, especially if you're like quote unquote like hybrid athlete or whatever.
Yeah.
People can just see it like getting out the door, which is fine.
Mhm.
For me, it's sport. I'm not at any particularly great level or anything like that, but I do, especially as of late, find myself like trying to compete more and treat it. I mean, it's fun. I think it's nice to just get out there and race hard and have, there's a guy in front of you. There's a guy in front of you, and there's two things are going to happen. Like either you're faster than, you're faster than them or not. And,
Mhm.
there's only one way to find out, and that's just go for it or don't go for it. And so, yeah, for me right now, it's sport. But I'm not looking down on anyone that doesn't see it as such. It's again, we're all on our own journeys,
Right.
and yeah, running is for everybody. Like you can just, yeah, put on shoes and get out of the fucking door, and
Yeah.
yeah, you're a runner, man. Like that's it.
Yeah, I think that's the distinction I was trying to get to too, is like the difference between running and being a runner, and sort of what the disparity looks like there, and if there is a disparity. Because my friend said this interesting thing to me a while back about, he grew up in London, and he remembered an interview with one of his favorite footballers, and the guy said, I've always wanted to play football. I didn't know I wanted to be a footballer. Like, and I thought that was such an interesting like dichotomy of the term. And I think it's cool now. We don't necessarily have to define it each way. You can be a runner. You can just run. I think that there is a difference, but not necessarily this huge disparity. And it's exactly how you mentioned it. It's like it can be a sport for now, and then you can morph it into whatever you want, or it can just stay whatever you want, and then you can define it however you want to do it too. So, no, I really like that. I want to shift a little bit into what I was saying too about the state of the industry. Knowing that you're with Heartbreak, correct? Heartbreak.
Yeah, so I help coach their Thursday
Yeah.
evening sessions here in Cambridge.
Hmm.
So and that was actually the first group I ever ran with for
Yeah.
the first, I think from like January or June
Cool.
2023. I was just running by myself, and I ended up was like, okay, let me see. It's right down the street from my house. I'm like, okay, let me see what this is all about.
Sure.
And yeah, I came one day. I felt immediately welcomed, and yeah, the relationship kind of just bloomed from there. And it has paid dividends of opportunities that I never thought I would have had.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's good.
That's great. Um, Without like doing a pun, I think Heartbreak has always had like the finger on the pulse. I interviewed someone from them a while back, and the vibe was much the same. Like when we had our chat, she was very welcoming, and it was just a good overall chat, and it gave me a really good taste for the shop. Although I've never physically been in, it felt like I was welcome regardless. So I think with, such a brand that means a lot to, or the shop brand community that means so much to so many people in the running world, I'd like your honest take a little bit on sort of where we're at with the running industry today, from the insane influx of new brands, the state of running in general, the rise of a run club for seemingly every interest, pace, speed, whatever it is, and then just like a little glimpse forward. Like, what's your opinion on sort of everything that's going on right now in the running world?
It's interesting. Especially because I am relatively new to it.
Hmm.
Uh, it's hard for me to speak past what is currently happening, but
Sure.
I can at least glean from people who have been it for a while and get their feedback on it and kind of see how things are going. And I can make educated guesses because I don't know if it's like super hard to figure out, but I think the boom is it's probably good. It's probably good.
Yeah.
It's good that people are getting out there, getting fit. Uh, I mean, this is, it's not to knock anyone, but I like as in terms of just like world like status or rankings or whatever, like America is pretty damn unhealthy. And
Hmm.
I think, this is probably good for us. Um, Granted, everyone's, some folks are just limited, either, physical disabilities notwithstanding and whatnot, but you can just, if not, you can just get out the door, hit a run. And if you are motivated by having a bunch of people around or getting free shit or XYZ, like, more power to you, I guess. Uh, is a lot of it for me? No, it's not. It's tough because I see I've I've at least been around. I travel around the country, travel around the world, luckily. So I have been able to see different communities, different running communities, what have you, in my travels. And yeah, not all of them feel super welcoming.
Yeah. Okay.
And especially just compared to my experience with heartbreak, it's like, dude, like it doesn't feel good.
Hmm.
And so I make it a point that I don't ever like anyone who comes to my coaching sessions, like I don't have the best memory in the world, but like I want to know your name and I want to like know I usually what I try and do like is like your name and your favorite ice cream flavor. So I can judge you on that.
Sure.
I'll judge you on your favorite ice cream color. But I want to know your name. I want to know like why you're here. If
Yeah.
you're if you're interested in running or running as just fitness or whatever, you're trying to get that door. Like that's cool. Or are you interested in it as a sport? So then I can talk your head off about XYZ.
Yeah.
Uh, but I just want you to I want you to come back. This is cool. Like it's sick. I love running. It's sick, and I don't want anyone to hate it.
Mhm.
So yeah, just come. So I'll chop it up with you. Uh,
That's awesome. I love that.
so I think it can be tough. I think like the community aspect can be tough because when you have and I think this is just the nature of the boom. It's like when you have like 500,000 people around, it's like not everyone can know each other's name, which is like you know it's kind of it's I don't want to say it's like by design, but when you have that many people, you just can't. Like
Mhm.
I can't interact with all of you.
Right.
I can't like know you. I can't like go kick it with all you guys at the same time. Granted, like going to the track and whatnot helps us, gives us like a small space to all connect with each other. And I have met a shit ton of people. But when I go to these big marathon shakeouts or whatever, it's like I don't really like can't really like know everyone there. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I went to I don't need to drop a name or anything like that. Like whatever. I went to this club out on the West Coast, and I had one friend there, and that was kind of like, yeah, let's meet up. We'll meet up here, whatever.
Mhm.
So, uh, yeah, I just kind of didn't really feel. I didn't feel like super welcome, and I
Mm.
don't know. From what I've heard, unfortunately, it's like maybe like the nature of the club a little bit, but also like when you have that many people, again, like you can't be super personal. So there's obviously got to be there's going to be a tipping point of when is it too much,
Yeah.
uh, and I think that can be I don't know if that like adds to like any sort of intimidation factor. At least for me, like I have wicked bad social anxiety. So for me, like that sucks.
Yeah.
Uh, but some people are just a lot more outgoing and personable than me. They might thrive in that space because now they have a million people to talk to. So, but again, like people are getting out the door, they're running and whatnot. So I think it's good in that aspect. But um, I definitely see it from the scope of you know, we're in this boom, so every brand wants a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate, you have the piece of capitalism that wants infinite growth, and like that's just not going to happen. And if you have 100, a zillion brands like vying for a little bit of space, like things are going to be fragmented. So yeah, this guy, I got a guy at this shakeout and this shakeout. It's like, dude, there's 50 fucking shakeouts during Boston Marathon weekend. You can't hit every one of them, or your friend wants to go this one, you want to go this one. It's like, yeah, like how are we supposed to build from that? And like, granted, it's one weekend or whatever, but yeah, I don't know if I don't
Mhm.
know if something's got to give. Maybe not. Like, there's a space for these big things. There's a space for these small things.
Yeah.
Guess you do have to find your space. But for me, uh, when you're running in Cambridge, Massachusetts,
Yeah.
like I want to know who you are.
Yeah.
I want to hit a run with you, And it doesn't matter. Like, I don't give a shit if you run 10-minute pace or if you're running 6-minute pace. Like,
Mhm.
we can hit a run together. Like, we'll figure it out.
Right.
So, and yeah, that's just kind of what I'm trying to cultivate. I would say though, for me, I do try to get people like into the sport aspect of it, and I do want to see
Mm.
people like get better and go faster.
Yeah.
I think that's sick. I think it's cool. And I try and like talk everyone. I'm like, hey, you should like, I know like marathon's the cool thing.
Right.
Like you should come to this track meet and like run like, a 5K or something like that.
Yeah.
So and just like and I and just showing people like, yo, you can do it. Like you can get better. Yeah, you can get better and you can treat it as sport because I think as adults maybe we don't have like a ton of opportunities with that. Like I know like luckily we have things like volo and like pickleball and all of that. So, and my friend, he's in like a flag football league. So like, it's nice to like start having these spaces as adults to like have like either like some kind of like competitive or just like sport or whatnot community in that way. That maybe it's hard to get. Like, you don't want to be like friends with people at work or whatever. And also just, like don't have a lot of like third spaces, like, like
Yeah.
bowling alleys and arcades disappearing. So it's like it's good to have like I do want to build a space in the manner where like people like, yo, like you can treat this as like a cool sport and like get better and like, you know, at least like try to like be competitive and like just see what you got. And
Yeah.
that's what I want it to be like. Uh at least like, the things that I interact with.
Yeah, no, I think that's such an honest answer too. It's like it goes back to what you were saying too about sort of compartmentalizing the goals into not necessarily having to be the biggest one and then thinking you're a failure for not achieving it. You can set those little ones up along the way, and some days you're going to go from A to H, then H to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then, I don't remember the alphabet there for a second, and then move on from there. But you're probably not getting all the way back to A. So I think that's a really interesting point. And then, you also mentioned something about just making sure you find your space. So you mentioned the club on the West Coast, and not necessarily feeling 100% welcome there. And I think with and then the glut of shakeouts during some of the more popular marathon weekends, be it New York, London, Boston, you can't hit them all. So like there is that overwhelming nature of like FOMO mixed with I got to be the cool guy or cool person at this club or this shakeout run. But finding your own sort of path through that. How do you do that? Like what are some steps someone can take to be like, all right, and it's going to be different for everyone, obviously. So this doesn't have to be a blanket answer, but for you, maybe to extol some advice on people that might be looking for this, how do you pick? How do you approach that?
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of just being honest with yourself. And you don't have to know the answer right away, but you do again your why and like why you want to be here and like getting in where you fit in. Uh Honestly, dude, like if you think something looks cool, like do it. That's it. Like
Yeah.
I think, yeah, if it looks if you think it looks cool, do it. unfortunately, like with a lot of these, there might be like some analysis paralysis. You'll have to probably, get a spreadsheet, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, just be like, oh, this looks cool. Like I want to do it. Cool. Like go for it. Yeah, because I don't think you can, because there is so much, like you can you can have spreadsheet analysis all day you want, but ultimately like there's still going to be like 1,000 different things dragging you in each direction. So I would say do the best research that you can and educate yourself, but ultimately you need to come to the conclusion of like, oh, do I think A is cool or I think B is cool or cooler? One is, not, and just see what it was like, oh, that
Yeah.
sucked. All right, you can try something else.
Yeah.
I think that's like, and I think something like marathon weekend or whatever, like, yeah, there's a million things happening or whatever. But in a day-to-day life, like especially around Boston, like, there's a few clubs here and there, and there's in the individual cities is not as opposed to like a big marathon weekend, like there is space for everybody, and there are so many different styles of club that you can definitely find something that is of interest to you, whether it's something like super simple, you just go, you just want to go on like an easy jog with someone. Like you can find like there's plenty of like social clubs and whatnot. If you want to like beat your ass on the track or like do some hardo stuff, like we got a couple of those around here as well. I think Heartbreak is good because one, it's free, and two, there's like a couple options, and it kind of a lot of clubs like kind of work like this. We have our like track workouts, but they're not crazy. Like it's nothing insane. Like we're not doing like K repeats at 5K pace. Like it's pretty introductory, and it's just meant to be like just like a nice space of just people to just get faster and have fun without, you shouldn't be hands on knees. You shouldn't, yeah, we're not going to put you through like, workouts that are going to make you like puke on the ground. I mean, if that's what you want to get out of it, like sure, like break it open,
Do
but
it. Yeah.
you don't have to do that, and it's not necessary for it. And that's just, not trying to scare people away. Like anytime if I need to like break down running for someone, I'm just like, dude, just
Mhm.
like um do what you can like within yourself, because at the end of the day, like I don't want you to like hate this sport. And I'm gonna go off on like a little tangent. I think a lot of people can fall into that because what happens is they get into running, they see the marathon, and they're like, "Oh, I gotta just run the marathon." It's like, dude, you haven't run 800, you haven't run 5K, you haven't run 10K, you haven't run half marathon. You're just gonna go straight for the marathon, and guess what? You're gonna undertrain, and you're gonna get your ass beat for 12 to 16 weeks. And then yeah, you'll cross that marathon finish line, but you're like, "Oh, I hated that. That like the process sucked." And then you never do it again. Then you're out. So uh, for me, it's like, yo, I want you to enjoy the process from like, obviously things, sometimes you got to eat shit, but like in general, like I want you to enjoy the entire process from A to Z, from week one until you cross the marathon finish line. I want you to be like, damn, like I did that, and maybe I want to do it again. But at least like the process to get there wasn't like completely hellish. So
Yeah. That's so well said. Answered kind of some of my questions too about like what would you warn people against when first getting into running? And I think you nailed it with that last sentiment of I don't know, just approach it knowing that I don't know that it is a sport or that there's going to be times that suck that juxtapose times that are good as well. So looking into how you sort of build because you're mentioning, how you bring people together, how you connect with people at track workouts, just in the community in general. How do you personally define community?
I guess from a more like micro term, it would probably just be a group of people who have similar interests and goals that can create a cohesive unit, and especially in running.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, I mean, just take any like Heartbreak, Tracksmith, Somerville Roadrunners like workout. It's like, oh, we have these people coming through who like we may all be at different stages, but we have a goal in mind, and we want to get faster, we want to run with people, and just as long as um, everyone's on board, everyone like meshes pretty well together, like that's like a community to me.
Mhm.
And that can be expanded. It doesn't have to be so small. But it is just having, yeah, it's just having just honestly, it's like having like a cohesive unit.
Yeah.
And I think you can build that around like different hobbies. So like, you can have like, you have like your running community, and you have maybe, you know, people you take photos with on a weekend community, and everything doesn't have to like jive. You can be in multiple
Mm.
sects without necessarily needing to just be a runner or just be a photographer. It's just about creating those like cohesive units within the spaces that you're in.
Yeah. Do you think that's true across solely running too, that you don't necessarily have to commit to one sort of community? You can be in a say like a track oriented community where it's all about speed, it's all about getting faster, and then juxtapose that with finding people that are running those 10 to 12 minute paces and kind of I don't know, running the gamut, I guess, of just finding your people in different aspects of the sport itself.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly possible just
Yeah.
because there again, like there's space for everyone, and you're
Mhm.
going to have these like larger communities that can ultimately break up into smaller ones. Like I have my group of friends, like I have like training partners that we like, you know, we get our asses beat every week, on the track or whatever. And then I have my, social runs on Fridays with people who, they don't necessarily like treat it as, a lot of them don't like treat it as sport, or it's just like nice little like easy social thing. And that's fun too. Like I love waking up at 7 a.m. and going on a run with them. So it is nice to be able to have these like have these kind of larger communities in running, and then you have these like I guess you're like macro community, and then you can break it up into further things depending on people's specific interests within this hobby.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, you know. It's really cool. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the tipping point. So there will be a point where there's going to be fatigue or attrition is the word I was looking for. What do you think is going to happen with all these run clubs, with all these communities that are being built? Do you think that it's sustainable? Do you think that we're going to see a morph? I don't know. What's your take on where we're going with that?
I think because of just the need for infinite growth.
Hmm.
uh, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but the bubble might burst at some point. So I don't know when that is. I don't know what it's going to look like, but at least what I want is like the community at large that I'm trying to create are people who like just really enjoy running, as opposed to coming to it because we like go to the bar, or
Mm.
you're here to like hook up with someone. Like I do want people to fall in love with the sport, so that when the bubble bursts, like they're still showing up. Doesn't fucking matter if we're giving out free shoes, or or what have you. Like you just want to show up because you enjoy running. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what I want out of it, and that's what I'm trying to cultivate ultimately. So when the bubble does burst, like I still have, whether or not, things stick around, like I'm still going to be running, and I hope that other people will be along for the journey with me.
So basically, it's kind of like regardless of how they get to you, like they could come because Heartbreak's doing a cool collab with brand X, or your track workout's going to be sponsored by Fuel Y, whatever it is. Cool, you got to the workout, you got to the group, you got to whatever it is. But then there's people like Dev that are saying, cool, glad you're here. Here's why this matters. Here's how to find joy. And I think that's such an interesting distinction. And that's why the power of connection, the power of an actual community, not these sort of like groups that are disguised as communities, maybe are so important to the sport and to the longevity of the sport. So yeah, I love how you said that. That's perfect. Cool. I want to feel like we dug into like some pretty deep stuff there. So if it's cool with you, I want to do like a little lightning round to kind of like
Do it.
add a little levity to things.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna fire things off at you, and you can just you can answer first thing that comes into your head.
All right.
Cool. All right. Last song you listened to.
Oh, Reminisce by Mary J. Blige.
Thought you were gonna say the legs playlist that dropped today, but okay, that's a good one too. Favorite city to run in,
Boston. But and
bucket
that's
list place to run, or bucket list distance to run.
Bucket list place to run. So there's this like really cool track in like Trento, Italy. It's like surrounded by forest. It's like the most beautiful spot. That would be, I think it's like north of Naples, but that's my dream spot.
Nice. If you could give yourself a running nickname, it would be,
This one's really putting me on the spot.
and then everyone would call you this,
Damn.
but no one would know you gave it to yourself.
Okay. Dude, I'm just having to go with classic big dog. Like everyone's like, oh, that's big dog. Big dogs in first, you know?
Nice. If you can't run with the big dog, stay on the porch, right?
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Would you rather be a world record holder in the event of your choice or have the ability to talk to animals?
I'd have to go with the ability to talk to animals. Yeah.
Damn. Favorite shoes?
Pair of shoes. Adidas Evo SL.
Tights or shorts?
Shorts. Split shorts gang all the way.
Running coach, worth it or no?
I would say yes, but it depends on like where you're at in the sport.
Scale of 1 to 10. How good of a runner do you consider yourself?
Let's go. I'll go with eight. Go with
Yeah.
eight.
Fill in the blank. If I didn't run, I'd.
Sleep.
At what age do you think you're going to hang up your running shoes?
Let's hmm. At least, if I can make it this long, at least age 80.
Okay.
I've seen them out there, so at least that age.
Free shoes for life from the brand of your choice or the ability to lift cars over your head.
Ooh, I take the cars over my head.
Okay. Your celebrity doppelganger.
Ooh, I don't know. So, wow. Damn. I've gotten like a lot. So, this is like from other people. I've gotten like a lot of weird ones. I've gotten Matt Damon, which I don't think so. It's like so weird. Yeah, I don't see it. Maybe if my face was shaved, like I've gotten Matt
Hmm.
Damon, Bad Bunny, and then there was this UFC fighter, Rafael Asuncao.
Okay.
That guy, I thought I looked like that guy, but
All
it's
right. Cool. Well, I'm going to use him for the social promotion of this now to see if anyone notices. Are you good at keeping secrets?
I am. I just have a bad memory, so yeah,
That
yeah, you just
helps.
let it flow. I'll forget.
I like it. Best pickup line, either you've heard or you've tried.
Oh my God, best pickup line. Oh no. Oh, because I heard like such a good one the other day. Oh my God. Wow. Oh, I think this is probably not great. I was gonna hit a classic. We'll do a classic Ryan one, your pace or mine.
Brilliant. Love it. Running in the morning or running at night?
In the morning.
Okay. If you could travel back in time, what would you do?
I'm trying to think like, I don't know if there's anything I would like change. So you just never know what's gonna happen in the future. Let me think though.
Sure.
I could travel back in time. What would I do? I would like to. I would like to meet my parents when they were kids. I think that'd be interesting.
Lovely. I love that. Oh, I didn't think you were going to go there. That's really awesome. Okay. What's your fastest mile?
That's mile 505.
Nice. Favorite recovery or post race meal?
It is. There's a coffee shop around here called 1369. It is small iced vanilla latte, slice of coffee cake, and a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich on a croissant.
Saved by the Bell or Boy Meets World?
Boy Meets World.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Sweater weather or no shirts ever?
No shirts ever. Big
Favorite
summer.
favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Okay. Fill in the blank. Running influencers are
Whatever.
nice. I like it. Awesome. Okay. Final thoughts. Final questions. What's on the horizon for you? What do you got that we should be aware of as newfound fans of Dev?
Oh man. Let's see. I've got like 6 races planned throughout the summer,
Yeah.
various distances and whatnot. Half marathon in September, which will be my longest distance this year. I don't really care for the marathon distance, to be honest.
Yeah.
If this is in the planning phases, I guess I'll put this out into the universe. So I am planning to do a little unsanctioned mile in Boston on the morning of July 4th. TBD. So it's in the planning phases, but I think I've got, we've got what's going on. But
Yeah.
yeah, other than that, that's yeah, I try to keep my life relatively like unexciting, to be honest, and it's nice when things aren't hectic and
Yeah.
I'm home to enjoy my rent.
Absolutely.
So I try
Home
and
to enjoy my rent.
things relatively local, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
about it. So yeah, racing through the summer, just trying to, get groups together, just work out together, especially as it gets warmer and whatnot. Just like nice, just like have everyone out and just like hanging out, just do as much as I can,
Yeah.
out and about in the city. So
I love it. All right. Finally, any shout outs?
shouts. Let's see. Obviously the Heartbreak Hill Running Company in Boston. Dan Fitzgerald is a pillar of the community, and I'll tell you right now, like I wouldn't be where I'm at without him. So got to give a major shout out to him. And do I have any other shout outs? Yeah. Oh, also just in general, just shout out to anyone who comes to the Homie Tempos on Saturday mornings at 8:30. I'm sorry. I'm absolutely beating your ass with these workouts, but I'm glad you're coming through. So
That's awesome. All right. Well, Dev, thank you so much for the time today. So it's really great, and I'm glad that we got into some really great stuff about community and the lightning round answers. Although we disagreed on some of them,
listen, we can't please everybody.
That's true. You can't please everyone all the time, and all those people are on the internet.
That's too real. I'm using that. I gotta use that one. I gotta use it.
All right. Well, it's a nod to Mitch Hedberg, the old comedian, who said, "Not you can't please all the people all the time." And last night, all those people were at my show. So got to give credit where credit's due. But
yeah, RIP.
Too. All right, Dev. Thank you so much, and yeah, it's been a real pleasure talking to you today.
Likewise, I appreciate you reaching out to me. This has been phenomenal.
Definitely. All right.
There's a shallow boy where my heart used to be, girl. I'm taking time out of days to remember the name. And if my body's just a pedal, then your hip is the leg.